Welcome or welcome back, everyone, to another exciting episode of Aaron's Opinion, the podcast for blind people, where we speak about critical issues in the blindness community and all other issues from across the universe and galaxy. Tonight, we are joined by the CEO of Intervision's radio network, Shaleah. She joins us now. So, Shaleah, I recently interviewed Jenny, who may or may not be joining us. I don't know. She might have seen the invite. I don't really know. But anyway, I've learned a lot about Intervision's radio network over the years. I've always known of the thing, Intervision's radio network, but now that I have you here, why don't you walk through your life story about who you are and how you came to create such an excellent radio station called Intervision's Radio Network? So I'll mute my microphone and let you talk for a bit. So who is Shaleah, and then what is Intervision's Radio Network? And you can unfold the whole story. So go right ahead.
Well, first, Aaron, I want to thank you for having me and thank you for spotlighting my station. It means a lot to me. It means a lot to all of us at the Intervisions Radio Network to have such a wonderful spotlight. My name is Shaleah Raines. I have many hats that I wear. So let me take you back. When I was a child, I did a lot of performing. I sang a lot of places. I did talent shows. I did various plays and played piano. So I've always loved music and performing arts and stuff like that. So I've always been really big into that kind of scene. And honestly, I started out getting into radio as just a DJ. My very my very first DJ gig was on a station that does not exist anymore that was called Grenade Radio. You might actually remember that. And the show was called The Hot Tub with DJ Bubbles. And I just ported the show over to this station, the Intervisions Radio Network. This station already existed when I brought my show over. It was owned by someone else, and she and her manager made a combined decision to give it to me in 2019. That was the year that they gave me the station. So I have owned the Intervisions Radio Network for 6 years. It will be 7 years in January. They gave it to me as a birthday gift, actually. It's actually a very cool birthday present. So I've kind of done a little bit of everything in terms of music. I have made music and put it out, like done covers. I've actually done my own song. I recently wrote and released a song for Mother's Day for my daughter. I have a 4-year-old little girl named Amari, and I wrote her a song and I recorded it, and some friends of mine helped me produce it, which was really, really special. And shout out to Allie K and to Breezy Wonder because they were integral in making that song happen and making it as big of a success as it has become. Um, I have a very specific sort of image that I want to present, not just for the radio station, but me in person, like in general, personally. I have a specific portrait of myself, I suppose you could say, that I want people to know and see and recognize. And most of that is under I don't want to get too religious, but most of that is under the light of Jesus Christ and God. And I want people to see me and the people that I associate with and the people that I interact with as positive and encouraging and uplifting and good people that represent and shine forth the light of God. And I've always felt that was a crucial point for me. And I have always wanted that to be what people notice first. So I'm very particular about who gets to work at the station because they have to come with a positive attitude and they have to present a an uplifting and an upbeat sort of personality. I'm not saying you have to be happy all the time because we all have lives and sometimes things happen that, hurt. I just think that we need to learn how to be positive in spite of the negative things that could be going on. And I want to present someone, I want to give people the opportunity to present themselves as long as their outlook is positive and as long as their personality is an uplifting one. You don't necessarily have to be spiritual, but it's a plus because I like to pray with my staff. I like to pray with them, because there's power in prayer. So, let me see, what else can I tell you? Yeah, mostly I really like music. I love to listen to music. I love to play music. I love to perform music. I love to be a part of anything musical, which is why I love what I do running the Intervisions Radio Network, because it makes all the difference for me getting to do something I love and enjoy something that I love and bring that to other people's homes and their phones and their cars and their whatever else they're listening to the station on. And the other thing is I love to spotlight independent artists. So people that are making their own music like me, I love to give them a spotlight. I love to interview them and ask them about themselves, what they do, spotlight their singles, be one of the first stations to play their singles. I love to help them make their release a big deal. So that's another reason why I was really excited to do the station, because I felt like it would be a really good opportunity for some of my friends who are also musicians, who also make their own music, who also write songs. You know, they do all of that. I want them to have a place where they can go and be like, hey, I put out a new song. Would you be willing to present it for me? And I'd be like, only if you'd be willing to do an interview. And not just musicians. I've interviewed people who've written their own books. I've interviewed people who have done performances in certain shows and stuff. Like I just love what we do. We get to do really fun things as radio station team members. Um, I think I think that's it.
I think that's a great answer, and that's certainly not it. That's certainly just the beginning of a great conversation. Absolutely, Shaleah. You know, it takes a special person to be a DJ. It really does. It takes a very special person to be a content creator, podcaster in my case, educator also in my case. But
Mhm.
what really tipped you over the edge originally? Like, what made you know that you need to be a DJ? And you do. You have that voice. You have that face for radio, by the way. So how did you
Thank
know?
you.
How did you know that you have, as we say in the industry, how did you know that you have the face for radio and needed to get involved? What really tipped you over the edge originally?
Um, that's a really good question. I'm not 100% sure. I just know that I loved music a lot, and especially R&B and hip hop music. And I felt, especially at the time that I decided to become a DJ, there wasn't enough of a target audience for that particular genre, those genres of music. I felt like they didn't get enough of a spotlight. Most of the DJs, especially, so I started doing the hot tub back in 2015, and most DJs at that time were not like solely focusing on those genres. Sure, they might have had a couple of hip hop songs in there because they were popular. They might have played a couple of R&B tracks because they were pop songs still. Like, you know, they were labeled as pop, but also R&B, because a lot of R&B is crossover these days. And so the what I noticed was it wasn't getting as much of a spotlight, as much play, as much notice as it should have been. And then I picked up on there are other things like conversations that need to be had that are not being had, about maybe what's going on in the world, or about maybe the music style and what needs to change, or about the lyric content. I wanted a more authentic sound on the airwaves. And I felt like my friends always said, man, you know your stuff about music. You should really try DJing. And I would say, nah, I don't really know about that. I'm a singer, not really a DJ. And then I don't know exactly how this happened, but somebody said, you know, you have a really bubbly personality. And I said, well, thank you. I appreciate that. And one of my other friends was like, hey, that's it. That's your DJ name. And I was like, what? She said, DJ Bubbles. That's you. You have a bubbly personality. So we're going to call you DJ Bubbles. And your show, what would you play? And I was like, are you serious? And she's like, yeah, what kind of music would you play? And I was like, R&B, maybe a little hip hop. She said, hot tub. The hot tub with DJ Bubbles. And I was like, what are you doing? She said, I'm making you a show. Go apply to a station with that show and see what happens. I was like, I don't know the first thing about DJing. I'll teach you. So she gives me this crash course in how to use Station Playlist Studio, and I pick it up pretty fast. And so I'm like, all right, I guess I'll try this. So I do the show on Grenade Radio. I probably did 2 shows there. Then I went over to Intervisions Radio, owned by the prior owners, and they were like, we love your show. We want it here. And I was like, okay. So I brought my show over there and I ran my own board for 3 or 4 years. And then I was like, I just don't want to do this. I want to just talk. I don't want to run my own board. And so my friend at the time was like, I'll run your board. And I was like, okay, cool. So she ran my board and I was like, well, it's weird if you're just pressing buttons. So I want you to weigh in. She's like, okay. So then my show became a sort of music/talk show. And when I say I talked about everything, I mean everything. I talked about everything from relationships. I gave relationship advice. I talked about the music and how it sounds now. Like, oh my God, why are they using so much auto-tune? Or I talked about mumble rap. What are they saying, man? I can't understand a word of it. What in the world are they talking about? I mean, everything you can think of. I talked about it. And there was somebody that came on my show last year and she made a joke. She was like, man, between you and me, we need our own segment. And I said, yeah, you can call it the soapbox. And we fell out laughing. And I was like, wait, that's a thing. The soapbox with DJ Bubbles. Because when I get on a rant, oh my gosh, I get on a rant. So yeah, it just really more became a space for me to freely express how I felt about music and the industry and the business and what was going on in it, and just kind of took off from there. Really, I don't really know that I was necessarily told or realized that I had a face for the radio. I just wanted to tell people how I felt, and that's just kind of where it went.
I think it's really obvious to me. You spoke from your heart. You told people how it is, right?
I do. That's
You
what I
just
do.
you just told people your opinions. You just said, here are the facts or my opinions. And that's basically what we do here on Aaron's Opinion. Absolutely. So tell me, so break it down. I love learning about this, So I recently had, well, of course, I had Jenny on the show. I also had a man from England a couple weekends ago on the show who talked about music extensively. So what's your take? Break it down. What's going on in the music scene these days? What are some issues that stand out to you that you want to educate the world about and that you are really passionate about? So what's going on in the music scene these days?
Are you telling me, Aaron, to climb up on my soapbox?
That
Because I
would
will
be
happily climb up on my
that would be
soapbox.
great. We want to hear you, DJ. We want to hear Bubbles on the soapbox. So
Okay, well, DJ
absolutely.
Bubbles is on the soapbox, so let's get started.
Okay, three issues.
You want to
Three issues.
know?
Your top 3 though. Really pinpoint your 3 main arguments. Go
Oh,
for it.
okay. My top 3. Well, that shouldn't be too hard. Okay, my top 3 issues with the music industry. Number 1, cookie cutter. Cookie cutter sound. Okay, that's issue number 1. Everything, it doesn't matter what genre we're in anymore. Everything sounds the same. Everything. It all sounds exactly the same. If you're listening to modern music, you can't even tell what genre you're listening to anymore. The country music uses hi-hats and heavy bass and too much treble and all this. And so does hip hop and so does R&B. And as a matter of fact, if you listen to something like pop, like if you listen to pop music, the pop music is trying to sound like the hip hop music and the R&B music, and the R&B music is trying to sound like the hip hop music, and the country music is trying to sound like hip hop and R&B and pop, and nobody knows who they are anymore. There's no identity in any genre. Remember back in even as far as the early 2000s, you could tell if you listened to a variety station, you could tell if a song was pop, hip hop, R&B, country. You could tell if it was rock. You could tell because they had distinctive sounds. That distinction is gone now. It is gone. Everybody is trying to sound like everybody else, and it's boring. It's so boring, which brings me to issue number 2. I'm bored with modern music. I am so bored. I am so over it that I have actually started exclusively listening to Christian music because at least there's still some differentiation there. At least I can still say, okay, this is gospel, this is contemporary Christian, this is country Christian. I can tell what I'm listening to. I'm bored. I'm bored with modern music. There's really no other way to put it. I'm just bored with it. I have tried so hard to curate, so to be 100% honest with you, I'm not doing the hot tub anymore right now because I haven't been able to find satisfactory music that I actually want to play. When it takes me 4 hours to make a 3-hour playlist, nope, we're not doing great. And 4 hours to make a 3-hour playlist after perusing over 1,000 songs, I might add. That's not good. That's not good. Also, my third and final issue, since I'm on my soapbox, lyric content. Okay. Now I said the sound is the same, but so is the lyrics. Everybody is talking about the same stuff, and I don't think I need to tell you what they're talking about, because you probably know. How to get women, sex, and drugs. Everybody is talking about sex and drugs. And if it's hip hop and R&B especially, it's sex, drugs, and killing. If it's any other, and this is just the popular stuff, right? I'm not talking about the underground, indie artists that you find that actually have something good to say. I'm talking about the popular music that everybody knows. If it's not sex, drugs, and murder, then it's sex, drugs, and parties. And I'm 35 years old. I don't party. I don't do drugs. And I'm abstaining from sex until I get married. So none of that is relatable for me. I miss the days when we used to sing about love, like real love, unconditional love, about getting married, about wanting to marry someone, about buying a ring and proposing. I miss the days when we used to sing about our friends and how much they meant to us and what we were going to do to support them and how we're going to be there. I miss the days when an R&B artist would maybe step out of their comfort zone and sing a song to God, right? I just miss the days when we were a little more honest and a little more open with our feelings. And then I know I said that I would give 3, but I have to say this because it needs to be said. The industry itself is a problem. Look at this stuff with Diddy. Look at what he's dealing with. Look at what's happening right now. And the entire music industry is collapsing in on itself ever since he got arrested. The entertainment industry is collapsing in on itself since that man got arrested. And so a big part of the problem is this lifestyle has become every person's obsession. Whoever gets into the music industry, that has become their obsession, is living that horrible lifestyle. And now it's coming out that that lifestyle may have been forced on some people. No. Why are we still singing about this stuff? This isn't good. This isn't good. We need to be talking about how to save the world, not how to ruin it further. Okay, I'm going to step down off my soapbox now. Thank you for giving me that opportunity.
You're so right. You are so right. And I've also noticed that the quality of music has gone down, over the years. And you're very right. It all does sound the same. And for the record, to really disappoint you, no, I don't have these dreams to be in any type of industry. The only dream that I'll tell people if people ask me, Aaron, do you want your podcast to be famous? I say no. I just want it to be successful. And if people understood the difference between successful and famous, they would be a whole heck of a lot happier.
Yes, they would.
The true difference is successful people are happy and don't have people crawling up their butt every 2 days, wondering where they live and following them around. That's for famous people. But I'm not famous. I just want to be successful. I don't want people to know how successful I am. That's the magic behind success. The magic behind success is that nobody knows. It's sort of the secret power,
Exactly.
But you're very right. what's coming out more and more about, and I'm not going to dive all the way head first into all the examples, but what's coming out more and more is that apparently some of these artists who were forced into the industry, whether it's singing or acting, you know, when they actually stop and tell you how it really was when they were growing up, you start to wonder, that doesn't sound like very much fun at all. That sounds kind of not that great. It kind of sounds boring. It kind of sounds tedious. It kind of sounds not that good. It sounds
It
like there would be
sounds
a
like
lot of other
it's
things.
stressful. It sounds like
Yeah.
it could have done a number on you mentally and
Well,
messed
it
with your mental
could have.
health. And
It clearly did. Look at the
yeah,
state. Look at the state of our country as a whole. Our country is not
mhm.
healthy, and I don't
No,
care. I don't care what, and I don't care what your political views are. I really don't. But if you look at the country from a whole, our country's not doing well,
it's not
and
doing well.
it's not doing well. And one of the reasons why it's not doing well is because some of the music in the industry is in my opinion, it's an opinion show, is presenting perhaps giving a false narrative. And I
Yep.
think I think there's a lot that we can say intellectually, professionally about what we can do to change the narrative in the industry. You can be successful all you want, but do so because you truly are talented and truly are in your own happiness. And that's the
Mm,
difference that I would say, is that a successful person is truly happy independently from other people. That's
yes.
a very subtle thing. Now, I'm not going to say that there are not classical musicians who have a team of people working with them and have all that. They do. Certainly they do, and you need that. But what it really comes down to is how successful and how happy are you truly as a person. If you're a healthy person mentally and happy, if you're a happy person, you're just going to have a better life to begin with. Now, I don't know. Maybe some of these people in the industry, and again, I don't know. The people, by the way, you said something that spoke volumes to me. You said that you need music that's actually good. Well, I have, as you know, a playlist here on Aaron's Opinion called Aaron's Opinion Select, where I compiled all of the blind or musicians with disabilities who I've interviewed over the years. And some of these people put out amazing, amazing stuff that is
I
truly.
need to send you my song for my daughter so you can put it on there.
Oh, absolutely. As long as it's on Spotify.
It's on
Absolutely.
Spotify, Apple Music,
It's a
Amazon
Spotify.
Music.
It's a
It's
Spotify
everywhere.
list. So I have a Spotify curation. I have a Spotify list that I will certainly add
Okay.
that to, and then
I
give
will
you give
give
you a
you
list back.
I will send you the name of the
Suffice
song
it,
and add it.
suffice it to say though, you should play those songs on your station. Have you ever heard of I don't know, I mean, I'm not really sure how familiar you are or are not with Aaron's Opinion and the work we do here, but have you ever heard of, EJ the Phoenix, Denny Jackson, Denise Barajas, H
Some of those names ring a
Street?
bell.
Yeah, so either you're saying that because you do know, or maybe you've seen them floating around on social media. Well, I've
Yeah, it's
collected
probably a combination of both.
of both of those things. Yeah, EJ the Phoenix is an incredible. Funny thing about some of these musicians, and we do have one of the other radio personalities in the audience. He's on mute. We'll put him on at the end, but he's not. He's not a musician, at least I don't think. But EJ the Phoenix, man, let me tell you, his music is ridiculously utterly incredible. And if he's not singing, he's an incredible friend. So he's the type of person you would want.
Oh, that's
He
wonderful.
some of these people are incredibly kind people. And by the way, ridiculously knowledgeable. They know all the ins and outs about publishing music and how to set up their publications and how to set up their profile. I mean, they know some of
Yeah,
these
the
people know.
BMIs and the which publication company you're gonna go
They
with,
know.
the
Oh,
copyright and all
we'll
that.
get you. They know. I know an expert. Denny Jackson is an expert about that topic. If you have any questions about that, we'll put you in touch with us. They'll get you
Oh,
straight right
yes.
away. They'll get you
Yes,
set up.
please.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. But no, you're very right. There's some serious problems with the music industry, and there's also some seriously talented music that you're going to hear later today, or actually tomorrow morning, probably. There's some seriously talented people, and the problem that I have is that these people like EJ and the other people that are on that playlist are not getting the support they could and need, and these are people that I
Hmm.
think do deserve record deals, and I would say that. I would say that all those people on that list deserve to have a real record deal and not to be independent. Although they're perfectly happy as independent, creators, they certainly deserve record deals. And that's, what I would say is, these are the people you want in your
I
corner.
can
So,
tell you why they're happy to be independent creators, though, instead of working and pushing and trying for that record deal. Record deals tend to come with strings. And usually those strings involve you completely recreating yourself and allowing them to turn you into something that you're not. No one wants that. This is the reason the industry is in shambles the way it is right now, because the people that took record deals thinking they were the change that they needed for their lives and that they were the break of a lifetime they were waiting on, they found out after the fact, oh no, now I have to do this stuff that I would never do, that I don't really want to do. Like, I gotta dress like this and I don't want to dress like this. I gotta dance like that and I'd really rather not. I have to sing like this. And why are they auto-tuning me so much, right? Like, you start to recognize, and there is a movie about this called, what is it called? Blackbird, I think is what the movie's called, but there's plenty of movies about this. A Star is Born, that's another really good one. And it doesn't matter which version you watch, they're all really good and they all kind of cover this. So you start out making your own music and you're really talented and people tell you how talented you are and you need to hit it big, and then you hit it big and they tell you, okay, we love everything you do. Now we want you to do something completely different. We want to change everything about you. And it makes you go, but why? You signed me because of what I did before you signed me. So why now do I have to change everything about me? And I never wanted that for myself, and they probably don't either, to be honest.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
being independent means you have the freedom to stay you.
And that's why they do it. And that's why they're independent. And that's why their music is as pure as it is. Absolutely.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. That's very, very accurate. So you say that you've written some of your own songs. You wrote a song for your daughter. What is your genre, since you have such a knowledge and such a gripe and grudge with not being able to tell the genre? So what's your genre?
Well, the genre of the song I wrote for my daughter is R&B. But I actually am currently working on some gospel music. So I kind of explore a little bit of all of the genres. I have done some pop covers. I have done, I am looking at dabbling in doing a little hip hop. I don't know how good I'll be at it, but I would try it.
Yeah.
I
What
like to
about some,
try new
sure.
things.
Absolutely. What about some of that great reggae? Believe it or not, reggae is one of my favorite, it's one of
Yes,
my
I
favorite.
love reggae.
Oh,
Oh,
good. So you know that you know
I
what
love
I,
reggae and Afro beats. Oh my gosh.
yes, yes, yes,
Yes.
yes.
Such
So
fun music.
it's so fun and so spiritual. So you do know right
Yeah.
off the top of my head, and it's right on the tip of my tongue. So so try to guess this one, and I'm sure you're going to get it right. If I asked you to write a cover, to do a cover of only one reggae song, one truly spiritual song from that era, what do you think I would want to hear you cover?
Probably One Love by Bob Marley.
Very close. The one that's very
Okay.
similar to that.
Okay. Let me think. I don't know. I have no idea because Bob Marley has some really good spiritual
Yeah,
songs.
yeah,
So
for sure. How about No Woman, No Cry?
that's a good one too. Ooh,
Incredible.
that's
That
a
I think is
really
one of
good
the best
one.
written song. That was one of the
That's
best
an
written.
amazing song.
But the funny thing about that song is your voice has to have just the right, you got to get that one just right. I
Yeah,
can't
you
have,
have to have a little vibrato. You have to have some emotion in it
yeah, yeah, you
because
got
it's
to,
an emotional song.
as I would tell people in the industry, one of the things that I say is your voice has to have the spices. You got to have the extra spice and extra
Mm,
engine, but you got to
yeah,
be able to tame it down. You got to be able to tame it and really hold on to that engine the whole time.
that's right.
It's an incredible song.
It is. I would love to cover that actually.
Because I've never, this is going to sound silly because I've heard very few covers. I mean, there are covers of that song, but that's a very complex song to cover. How do you say, give me a couple bars, sing for me a little bit. I want to actually
Oh,
hear your voice, actually.
okay.
Just a couple
What do you
bars.
what do you want me to sing? I'm not going to sing that one. I don't know
Okay.
how
Yeah,
to.
yeah, yes, obviously not. Anything that how about an original that you wrote or some just to illustrate your voice for maybe 7 bars or something, just to illustrate.
Sure. Okay. Let me see. If you want to hear an original, I'll just sing the one I wrote for my daughter.
There you go.
My life was a journey, but it wasn't enough. Every day I was searching for somebody to love. Didn't think I was worthy. Never thought I could find somebody so special, a beautiful treasure. Who would have thought you'd be mine? There you go. Little
Yeah.
sample of my song for my daughter.
That's great. Yeah.
Thank
Yeah, you
you.
definitely have the voice. You definitely have
Oh,
the
thank
voice to do
you.
some covers of some Bob Marley, some No Woman, No Cry.
Yeah.
There's
I will
oh,
definitely do that. I'll do
there's
that
another
just for you.
that's a lot. Actually, No Woman, No Cry. That's a lot of work. Actually, that's a lot of verses. It's a lot. It's a complex one. It's a very complicated song. The other,
I love a challenge though.
that's a hard
So,
one. The other one that's very beautiful, and I don't really know, is a much older song. It was written by I know what it was. A song called "Let Them Talk." Hugh Laurie.
oh,
Never heard of that one?
no, I can't say that I have,
No,
but I'll
that's a
have to
pretty
check
old
that
song.
out.
It's a much older one. It's an incredibly beautiful song, a much slower, much more. It's a very interesting song. That's a good one too.
Mm.
But no, I think that for people who want to do covers, if you're able to do it and put it together the right way, I think it can be an incredible thing. Yeah, yeah.
I'm going to be releasing a cover of a Christmas song this year. I'm going to be releasing my cover of Grown Up Christmas List.
Now, how does that one go a little bit? Because I'm not so familiar with that one.
Oh,
Go
that's the
ahead.
one that goes, do you remember me? I sat upon your knee.
Ah, yes,
I
yes, that one.
wrote to you with childhood fantasies. I love that song.
Yeah, yeah, that one. Yeah, that's a pretty good one too. Yeah, so that
Originally by, I want to say Amy Grant.
sounds it sounds right to me.
Yeah,
I'm not
I
entirely
think
sure,
it
but
was
that
an Amy
sounds
Grant
right to me.
song. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
it's a
Very
good
interesting.
song.
Very interesting. Yeah. I was going to say my friend EJ the Phoenix, in the community, I have the video, tucked away on my YouTube channel, but he put together a cover of, Sound of Silence.
What a good song. Oh, I love that song
Okay.
so much.
Okay, but he did it. There's this special version where you sing it in this really slow way. There's this special arrangement that he did a cover on from the 70s where it's played in a different interpretation, and then he totally just lit it up out of the
Yeah,
park.
because the Simon and Garfunkel version's a little fast. But I heard a version by who was it? Who was it? It was a rock band.
Probably is that one. He covered it.
Yeah,
So
okay. I
with
know
his
exactly what
instrument,
you're talking about then, because I can't remember the name of the
I
rock
can't
band right
remember it
now.
either,
My
and
brain
honestly,
is fried.
I
But
can't, it's not coming to my mind either, but EJ did a cover of it, and it was just out of this,
gorgeous. So
um,
pretty. And
certain
then
covers are like that. If you hit it out of the park, you hit it out of the park. Yeah. Yes.
Celtic
Uh-huh.
Woman did a slowed down a cappella version of it that's really pretty too, with all kinds of gorgeous harmonies.
Oh, I can
Oh,
imagine. Yeah.
oh, so pretty. I love Celtic Woman. And see, that's another thing. I like abstract artists that most
Yeah.
people are like, wow, you know who that is? It's so funny because I tell people, I know that group or I know that artist. And they go, you do? I thought you only listened to R&B.
No, you're a character. I can tell you listen to all the music because
Everything.
you would have to. And I can tell that you listen to everything because to be able to make the comments you're making shows me that you're vested in the industry and that you've completely tuned into all the types of music around. That's
Absolutely.
really, really incredible. So,
I've had a deep love for music ever since I was a child,
oh,
honestly.
that's so
All kinds of
wonderful,
music. I used
Shaleah.
to listen to jazz and classical music as a teenager. So,
Well, which is good because that's excellent because jazz and now I played flute for many years. So I was always
we
into the
wouldn't have any
classical.
of these other genres without those.
We
Those
wouldn't.
are the ones that started it all.
Well, sort of. I would beg another. I would make another argument that if we never had jazz, then people would have never gotten creative enough.
Yes.
That's the
Thank
thing.
you for saying
That's
that.
that's why there was jazz. It's because people were sick and tired of playing what was written on the page, so they needed a way to express themselves in a
Mm.
new way and to give new birth to things. And that's why jazz was invented in the United States, which is really the only music that is truly American when you think about it. All the other music from around the world comes from, well, all over the world, and it's just played here. But
Yeah,
Speaking
I
of
actually took
rebirths
a
and
jazz class
oh
in
yeah.
college a couple of years ago, and I
Hmm.
learned so much from that class. And the actual roots of, we're going to get spiraled in a minute, but the actual roots of jazz, it actually started with the slaves and the slave
Hmm.
hollers that they used to sing while working in the field. That's where it started. And then it just kind of grew into something else after that from there.
Right. Sure. Sure. No, the history, and when you research the history of all these things, the history is very interesting. I mean, you could watch YouTubes all day
Fascinating.
about the history of why do we have these music, where do they get the melodies from, what they're
Hmm.
really saying about society. Yeah. Yeah. I had a guy on last week, a couple of weeks ago. I forget when it was, but he was talking about, Jamaican dance hall and the difference between Jamaican dance hall and Jamaican reggae and the
Oh, dance
different
hall is
reggae.
amazing. I love dance
Yeah.
hall too.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
It's
So
a
yeah.
lot faster.
Yeah.
And I think that's
Hmm.
one of the main differences is it's a lot faster
Right.
because it's meant for you to dance to, just like
Right.
Afro beats are meant for you
Right.
to dance to.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Exactly right. So that's deeply, deeply all of it's deeply fascinating
It
to me for
is.
sure. Yeah. But
Agreed.
what else I would like to kind of delve into a bit is so this whole new concept of internet radio has really been
Mm.
making a rebirth. It used to be that we thought in the 90s that terrestrial radio was kind of on the way out, and it really wasn't. It just changed.
Yeah.
And then in the early 2000s, people lost interest in radio. But up until I think I noticed around the 2010s, we started
Hmm.
hearing about this new concept, internet radio. So for those of us who need a refresher, why don't you walk through, just talking about the elements of internet radio. So what are the elements of internet radio for one? For another, and then how Intervision's radio network was built in the first place, and exactly, so how does your station work exactly? So really break down those ingredients. I'm really interested.
Okay, so the elements of internet radio really involve, you have to have a server because the server gives you access. So the server is connected to a website, and the website is fed into your streaming software, or um, there's a link you put on your web page that people can click that redirects you to the server's website. And on that server is where things are streamed. And the way that it usually works is you have a software that broadcasts audio directly to the server, which is then received by the link from the link and sent to you. And usually the way that works is for automation, which we do have on the Intervisions Radio Network. We use a special broadcasting software. And the way the software works is our the software we have on our computers, which I mentioned a little bit ago, Station Playlist Studio, connects to the what's the word for it? It connects to the port that feeds into the broadcasting software that is on the server that allows the server to transmit audio through the link to you, right? So it doesn't matter what device you're listening on, whether you use an app on your phone or you use a skill on your Lady A device or you use your computer directly. Whichever device you're using to listen to that internet radio station, the link is simply giving you the stream. The link is just the access point. But the stream itself starts with me and my computer and my broadcast software, which then sends what I'm doing directly through the server's receiver software, which then gives it to you on your transmitter, which is the link. And that is pretty much the way that our station runs. So we use Station Playlist Studio to connect to our broadcast software, which is called AzuraCast. And then AzuraCast transmits the broadcasts from Station Playlist Studio out to the link or links associated with the various methods of receiving. And we do have a lot. We have a Lady A. You can ask Lady A to play Intervision's radio network on Get Me Radio. You can listen to us directly through the Get Me Radio app. We're also on Simple Radio. We used to have a Google app, but Google broke that. Yay for Google. We are in the Lisi listings. For those of you that use Lisi, we're in that, I can't remember the name of it, but that internet listing, that the internet radio listing that you can pull from Tweezcake, if you use that. We are listed in a few other places too. My gosh, I can't even remember. Oh, we're in SamNet as well. So you can listen to us on SA Mobile. If you have SA Mobile, you can listen to us on SA Mobile Net as well. So I know we're there. Like if you play, for example, RS Games, you can, you know how they have the broadcasts that you can play there. You can stream us through there because we're in the listing there too.
That's
So
pretty
we are in a
cool.
lot of places,
That's super good. Well,
and
you're
we
going to
are
be.
fully licensed.
Well, that's really good. And what makes you, by the way, why don't you explain what that is? So what does fully licensed mean these days?
Okay, so fully licensed. When a station is licensed, that means that every time they play, okay, so every time you play a song, not an indie song, because indie songs don't count, unfortunately, but every time you play a song that is considered popular, a song that might be on the billboards, um, it means that the people responsible for that song are going to get paid. That's what it means. If you're not licensed, you can still play the songs, but they don't make any money off of you playing it. Whereas us being a licensed station, every time we play a song by Beyonce, for example, or a song by Randy Travis, every time we play one of their songs, they make money,
Right.
get
Okay.
royalties.
Good. That's what it means. That's what it means.
Yes.
Very
It's for
good.
people who, so if you, now I said indie artists don't count, but what I mean is if you are not registered, so like if you don't have a BMI, for example, if you're not set up with BMI, then you're not going to get royalties when your song is played.
Right. Right. Yeah. 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 I don't know if any of the artists on Aaron's Opinion Select are registered in that way, but the software would be able to tell you once you look at the song,
Yes,
you'd
it
be able to
would.
tell.
Yep, it
Um,
would.
it would note it would mark it as there's probably so what would it say when you're using when you're deciding what songs to play? How can you tell if it's registered or not, the song? In other words, does it just simply say what the registrations are on the song, or how do you actually tell?
A lot of times it's in the metadata. Um, it's gonna be under like publishing rights or licensing or anything like that. There's gonna be like a little section in your metadata. A lot of people don't know that it exists. But like, for example, you can put stuff on Apple Music and Spotify with DistroKid, which is just a distribution company, right? They
Correct.
just distribute your music. They do not license it for you. You have to pay to license your music. So you can put your music on Spotify and Apple Music and everywhere with DistroKid, but you won't get any royalties from it. And in all honesty, um, DistroKid, they take money from you to distribute your music, but it's up to you. They tell you this too. It's up to you to publish it. It's up to you to copyright it. It's up to you to license it. And if you don't do that, then your music's just out there and people can snag it and use it and take it and do what they want with it and make it their own. And you don't have a leg to stand on because you don't have any legalities that you can fall back on and say, hey, nope, this is mine. You got to give me my money, right? And that's why licensing and publishing is so important. Copywriting is so important. You have to protect yourselves. And that's something a lot of indie artists don't realize. But you do. You have to protect yourselves. It's not enough to just get your music out there. You need to protect it. Somebody can take something you've done and worked really hard on. You wrote it yourself. You made the music yourself. You laid all the tracks yourself. And somebody can take that, copy it, maybe tweak one or two lyrics, publish it, license it, copyright it, and make bank off of your work.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah, and that's one of the problems why some of the tracks sound so similar. It's because
Yep.
they're listening to the other tracks. So of course it
Yep.
sounds similar. Yeah.
Yep. Of course it
Yeah.
does.
It's a major problem.
It is.
It's a major,
And
major
it's
problem.
something that we at the Intervisions Radio Network want to stop, which is why before we take an indie artist and play their music, before we interview them, before we even take them on in any way, shape, or form, the first question is, are you published? Is your music copywritten? Will you get royalties if I play this? Because if you don't know, or the answer is no, I'm not going to put your music on my station because I don't want your stuff getting stolen. Go get it licensed first. Get it published first. Get you a BMI and put your music up there. And then come back to me after you've copywritten and published your music. And then, and only then, will I play it. Because I
Good
want
to
to
know.
protect you. I want to keep you safe. I'm looking out for you.
Yeah, really good. No, this is no. You're the type of person that I want in my corner here at Aaron's Opinion, and you're the type of person that we want. And no, I think considering how much Denny Jackson knows, I'm sure that some of his stuff is licensed, but I'm actually not sure. But I'm sure he knows about that though for sure. Yeah,
Yes.
that's very, very, very interesting. So another really thing that really stood out to me was what an incredibly superior job Jenny does. And I mean this from the bottom of my heart. And she's not in the audience. Let me tell you something. That woman knows how to run a classical music collection. She knows how
She
to run a,
does.
so
Let me let
what,
you in on a secret. I
yeah.
trained her.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
I sure did. I trained her. When Jenny first came to our station, and I'm not telling her business, she would tell you this. When she first came to our station, she was a little bit of a nervous wreck. And a lot of that stems from she had done broadcasting on another station, and I'm not going to name names because I'm not that messy. But what I will say is that station did not handle her very well. And they got frustrated with her. They told her her show was boring. They said she didn't have good content. They said all kinds of really nasty things to her. And it really destroyed her self-image. And when she came to me and she auditioned for us, because we have an application process. You fill out an application on our website. If you want to become a DJ, you go to inner-visions.net/apply. Yes, I'm definitely doing a shameless plug. We are looking for more DJs. inner-visions.net/apply. So she filled out an application, and the way the process works is we get an email to the management email box that says somebody applied to be a DJ, and we look at their application. I have a whole team, you guys. I have a team behind me. It's not just me. It's me, and I have a station manager, and I have a tech guy who's running all of the behind the scenes stuff, and I have an applications person who manages new applicants and makes sure that they have what they need and answers their questions. I of course there's me, and I have my own secretary. So I have a whole staff. I have an entire staff, and then so there's a lot of us, and a lot goes into running a station like this, but I digress. She filled out an application. We did the next steps, and she got herself all set up for testing. And the way it works is you go and you do your test, and all of the management sit together in a. I have Jenny too. She's my PR person. But all of the management sit in a team talk channel and listen together to your test. And when your test is done, we ask you to wait for a second while we, you know, while we deliberate and we run through our opinions of the show and how you did and what we think and da 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 da. So we brought Jenny in and we were like, hey, so two things. You did a wonderful job. We love your show. We love your content. You have a wonderful radio voice. I said, the second thing is I need you to get a better microphone. I said, I can't put you on air the way you sound right now. I need to get you a better microphone. So we're going to recommend something for you. Would you be willing to buy it? Yes, absolutely. Okay, if you buy this new microphone, we'll have you run a test again, and then you should be good. So we told her what mic to get. She got the microphone. She got it all set up. We helped her get everything set up. She ran the test again. It was perfect. I said, all right, let's get you on air, girl. what day, what time. We got everything set up, and I noticed pretty quickly she had some nervous moments, like when she started having technology issues. Her internet was messing up, and she didn't handle it well. Well, I didn't get upset with her. I said, all right, here's what you need to do. First, breathe. Move away from whatever you're dealing with and take some deep breaths. You are okay. No one is angry with you. None of this is your fault. So you just breathe and calm down and we'll work through it. I don't need to tell her to breathe anymore, you guys. This was 3 years ago. I haven't needed to say, Jenny, breathe in a year and a half. And the way that I trained her was I was like, you know what? I want you to be my board operator for the hot tub. Me? Yes, you. I want you to operate the board for me. Okay, are you sure that I can do that? I know you can do it. That's why I'm asking you to do it. Okay, I'll give it a try. And instead of giving up on her or telling her she wasn't doing a good job or fussing at her or any of that stuff she probably expected me to do, I was patient with her and I was kind to her and I was praising of her. No matter what, you're doing a great job, Jenny. I'm so proud of you. I really appreciate everything you're doing. I made sure that she felt uplifted. I made sure that she had a positive experience. And because of that, she's grown exponentially. She has come so far, you would not believe it. You would not believe how far she's come. But I'm telling you right now, as the owner of the station, as her trainer, and as her friend, I'm so proud of who she's becoming and how far she's come. So I love hearing you say that she's doing a great job because it lets me know that we're doing a great job.
You are. You are. It's an incredible show. You know, there's a lot of classical music shows on the airwaves, but that's the best one. That's absolutely the
I would
best
agree
one.
with that.
That's the best.
I love her trivia, the
Her
fun trivia games. I love it.
her
She's so
personality
sweet.
is just, and but also serious though. That's what I like about her.
Yeah.
She's so sweet, but in a stern and like abrasive, but like in a good way, kind of in like an attractive and sort of in an odd way. You know,
Yeah, like
she's got,
I know what I'm talking about kind of way.
but in a sweet, but in a
Yes.
sweet, kind, friendly way.
Yes,
But also
exactly.
she's both of you are great characters.
Thank
That's
you.
so good to know that. Yeah. No, and I remembered. Oh, it's Thursday. Oh, Friday. Oh, I know what time to tune into that thing. So
Yep.
I remembered because the show was so good. Her knowledge of the music is completely unmatched. And considering that she has a 3 hour show to do that, that's very generous. To give a
Yes.
3 hour block, for that type of thing. So yeah, no, definitely. That's one of the highlights for sure. So the other
And I
question, of
remember
course,
the first thing I said when she auditioned was, we don't have anything like this here. We need
yeah, it's
her.
pretty unusual, even for the professional. Well, you are professional, but even for the other terrestrial stations around the country that support classical music shows, even they aren't quite to that level. So that one, you know, keep playing that out because you never know who might pick it up around the airwaves. So for sure,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely. And her show, like I said, her show is so good. Like,
Hmm.
and there are times when she's like, and it's when she has other people on the show too. Like when people come in and they talk with
Right.
her and she's like, do you guys want to weigh in on this? Do you want to participate in the trivia? You know, like I love that because she's encouraging people to get involved. And it's
Absolutely.
funny because a lot of that came from feedback she received from her listeners, which lets you know that she listens to her listeners,
Mm-hmm.
which is so huge because not too many, let's just be real for a second, not too many radio personalities do. A lot of them are like, this is my format. I'm not changing it. I don't care what you think. Right? Not me. If I got advice that said, you know, DJ Bubbles, when you do the hot tub, you should, and I actually did get some advice while I was in school. Somebody's like, you know, you should cycle all those people out because they take over your show. Don't have so many people in in the channel where your show is happening at once because what
Sure.
happens is it becomes a runaway train and we want to hear what you have to say, not what everybody and their mama has to say. And I was like, you know, that's fair. That is completely so 5 at a time. Me and my board operator and 5 at a time. And that's how I started running it. And yeah, it was a difference. I was like, wow,
Mm-hmm.
okay, things are not so hectic around here. We can finish a show by 1 o'clock instead of 5 a.m.
Yeah, yeah, you're really buckled into this industry the right. You not only are you good at what you do, but you're genuine and you're doing it but you also do it the right way, and that's very
Yes.
noticeable to me. This is really
Thank you.
encouraging. You know what else is you know what else you encourage? You encourage podcasters like Aaron's Opinion to say, "Hey, so DJ Bubbles, what do we have to do to get Aaron's Opinion podcast on your station? It's such a great station. I want to make sure my podcast is played on there. What can we possibly do? You're so nice. Come on, let me on your station. What can we do about that? What do
To
you
be
think?"
perfectly honest, all you have to do is send an email to management@inner-visions.net because you're not applying to be a DJ. You're just asking if we will stream your podcast, already recorded podcast episodes up on our station, which we would be 100% happy to, by the way. So just send us your blurb in an email at management@inner-visions.net and what you would like us, I know you told me once that you don't care, but maybe like
No, no, no.
what kind of a
Whoa, wait,
block?
back it. No, 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 wait. Let's.
Hold on, let me finish.
You're
Let
being
me finish
recorded.
what I'm saying.
Okay.
You told me it doesn't matter to you, but like what kind of block you would like us to put your show on? Because there are prime times to place a show, and we have quite a lot of open space right now on during the week. And so like if you're like, oh, you can do Thursdays at 7 from 7:30 to 9 or from 7:30 to 9:30 or whatever, right? Just give us kind of an idea of what kind of block we need to set aside because we have a schedule. Um, so we would put you on the schedule. And so your blurb would be a part of the schedules of the description of your show and what it's about and what it represents. And then the time slots would be necessary so that we could put on the schedule when they can hear you. So I know, like, because the fact that your podcasts are just there and people can pull them and listen at their leisure, it doesn't necessarily matter to the podcast, but for the station, it matters.
Hmm. Hmm. Okay. Okay. Because each episode is a different amount of time. Some are around an hour and a half, others a little longer, a little shorter. So I think
That's
that's,
fine. So all you
yeah.
really have to do is just give us a start time.
Huh. Okay. All right. Well, we can certainly talk in email about that and figure that out. But I think the start time would be just really, I don't know. I'd have to figure out what the prime time, what we would have to figure out what you think actually would be the most appropriate time for that show to get the play. I think so. I think there is a mathematical way to figure out what time that would be. I don't know, but yeah,
Well,
we can
based on
definitely.
what we're talking about and the what I'm picking up on just from this one experience, I would say probably like afternoons, like the slot Jenny has on Fridays. I would do a Thursday from 2 to whatever, and then
Hmm.
maybe like a Monday from 3, or no, I can't do Monday. Sorry, got a show on Mondays. Like a maybe Thursday and I'd have to think about that. Wednesday, probably Wednesday and Thursday
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
afternoon.
Yeah, and you guys could choose from my feed or from can your station download just from so how would the station actually get the show though? Would they just download from Spotify or how would they get the download?
Yeah, we would have to pull them. We would have to download them from, I don't think we can download them from Spotify because
Oh, you
Spotify
can. You can definitely download
picky
from
like
Spotify.
that. Yeah, but it just downloads them to Spotify. It doesn't
Oh,
actually
that's
give
true.
you the
That's
file.
true. Okay.
So
Okay.
I would have to probably pull it from your feed.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. That
Yeah,
okay.
so we would have to pull them because we would need the files because we have to upload them to our software where they would be placed in a schedule
Right.
on a um so one of the
Well, that's
things
why
we
that's why you need
do,
the RS. That's what the RSS
yes,
feed would do.
exactly.
That's what the RSS
Exactly.
feed is.
That's
It
what
would
the
give it would
RSS feed would do.
it would give you that key to be able to unlock exactly where the files are, and you'd be able to play it from one RSS feed. Right? Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's easy.
and my tech guy knows how to do all of that, and he
Mm-hmm.
told me he's very capable of doing it, and he's willing to do it.
So
I've
good.
already actually kind of put a bug in his ear that we might
Mm-hmm.
be taking your podcast on, and that's why I'm telling you to email management@inner-visions.net because he's the one that will be communicate with you,
Right.
because
Right.
that's
Mm-hmm.
all him. He's the one that
Right.
has to pull them. He's the one that puts the text in the schedule. He's the one that sets all that up. So
Yeah,
he's
really
your
good.
contact for all of that.
Really, really, really good. So, and in addition to what Jenny does, and let's get this person in the waiting room here. Let's get this another audience. Someone else just sat down. In addition,
Wow, welcome.
and no, you have two people. We'll get to them. You have two people that you'll talk to in a minute. In addition to, all this amazing stuff that your station does. So, because here at Aaron's Opinion, we have a lot of international listeners. So what
Yeah.
can you tell me about your international listeners? Who from all over the world tunes into your station? What do you think?
Ooh, I know we have listeners in Australia and in the UK. I would actually, to be 100% honest with you, I would love it if people would send me personally an email at djbubbles at inner-visions.net and tell me where you are from and how you listen. Because that is something I've always been interested to know. I know that, because we're on like Get Me Radio and stuff like that, we can be heard all around the world. So like Simple Radio, I know for a fact is available outside of the US and in pretty much every country. Like I know we have Jamaican listeners, we have listeners in uh Cape Cod, Barbados, Trinidad. These are just some of the people I've encountered over the years that have said things like, "Oh, I love your station and I love your show and keep up the great work and I love what you do," and stuff like that. So I would love it if people would reach out to me via email at djbubbles at inner-visions.net and just kind of give me a shout out. Let me know who's listening because I would love to know that. Like who is tuned into my station, who's listening to the shows. We would love to have interactions. We're also on Telegram. We have a Facebook page, and we have Mastodon. We're somewhere on X, but we don't really X anymore.
Really, really good. Yeah, because at Aaron's Opinion, we're going to get a lot more listeners from South Africa because we have a lot of
Oh, I
people from
love it. I love it.
South Africa, Eastern Caribbean.
Yes.
We have a couple people in Europe. Yeah, most of our Australia too. Most of our listeners are from many of them are from South Africa, the Caribbean, Australia, Southeast Asia, places like that.
Oh, I
Only a
love
few,
it. That's
only
amazing.
in Canada and places like that. Very few from Europe, actually, in the
Yep, we
greater
got
scheme
some
of things.
Canadians tuning in too.
Yeah,
I
but I
forgot
noticed
Canada.
mostly
Sorry,
from
Canada. I love
England
you.
and yeah, we have a lot from England, less from other European countries. We do have some European countries, but Europe participates a little bit less, it seems. There's less listeners in Europe. So,
Yeah.
anyway, though, yeah, that is all very, very, very good. One moment here. Let me just check the audience. So, yeah. I absolutely want to open the microphone now to the two audience members. We're going to go. So Preston, you joined first. He does a lot in radio, and his name is Preston.
Hi,
Okay.
Preston.
No, let me unmute him first. Hold on. Let me see here. Let's see here. All right, Preston, go. I'm sure you have a question for Shaleah, Preston. So go right ahead. One question.
There we go. Hello there, DJ Bubbles. This is Preston from PA, touching base. It's good to hear your voice, and I have tuned your station off and on. I may not listen every day because, like I said,
Uh-oh.
but I love it.
Well, very good, Preston. The audio's a little hard. It's a little
Yeah, your
distorted
audio is a
there,
little
man.
breaky, but thank you so
Yeah,
much for the support. I
yeah.
really appreciate it.
Yeah, I may not tune every day, but it's definitely a good experience. I think I fell asleep to one of your shows one night on Get Me
Preston.
Radio. But, yep.
Preston, you weren't supposed to admit that.
Oh, sorry.
Preston, come on.
He said, I may not tune in every day, but
No. But then did you hear the part where he said, did you hear him? He said I might have fallen asleep to one of your shows.
Yes, I heard. You know, that's okay. Sometimes my shows, when I did the hot tub, let me tell you something, Aaron. When I did the hot tub, them things could go long.
I
So he
know.
probably was up late listening to a show that was going past 2 a.m. and was like, man, I'm getting tired. This show is good, but I'm sleepy.
Right.
That's
That
silly.
That's
that'll
okay,
do
Preston. I won't give you a hard time for falling asleep during my
It's
show.
okay,
I fell
man.
asleep during my show once.
it. Oh,
Well,
thank you. I
this
appreciate it.
is very encouraging. This is very interesting. I've never fallen asleep to my own show. I've never fallen asleep on my podcast. I've never fallen asleep on my own podcast.
Well, that's because your podcast doesn't go till 3 a.m.
Well, that's too. Okay, that's adorable. That's silly stuff.
Oh,
All right,
goodness.
Preston. Thanks, man.
Thank you, Preston.
Thank you, Preston. All right, before we
You're
go,
welcome.
that's
But
no, yes,
actually,
go ahead. Go ahead. Sure.
I do have a question for our guest. So, what has been your favorite part about the station besides, owning it and helping Jenny with her classical show and everything? What has been your favorite, I guess, experience?
Ooh, that's a good question, actually. I think my favorite experience is the fact that I get to interact with so many different people from different backgrounds and cultures and help to encourage them because there are others on my station. I won't name names right now, but there are others on my station who, when they came here, were a little timid. They were a little quiet. They were a little shy. They weren't 100% sure of themselves. And just a little bit of positivity and encouragement goes a long way. And I just love the fact that I'm in a unique position to give them that. And I think that is the most special thing for me about owning this station.
Oh, yes, indeed. That's always important.
Yes. I really
Excellent.
appreciate you with that was a really good question. Thank you for that.
Yeah,
Yes, no
that was good.
problem.
I really love that, Preston. The
Yeah.
comedy there, and then the comedy and the great question.
Yes,
That
the
was good
comedy was
call.
great too.
Good call, Preston. That was
Yeah,
good,
good
man.
Yes,
one.
All
thank
right,
you.
let's go, by the way, let's go over before we get going tonight, before we wrap it up. Let's go over and let me just ask. So Candace, she's also one of our newest listeners, but apparently a very loyal one. And she works very hard, as I've come to understand, and she hopes to be a future guest here at Aaron's Opinion. But Candace,
Wow.
why don't I know eventually she's going to turn on her microphone. Let me try. Let me try to let her. Let's see. All right. I just asked to unmute for Candace. So Candace,
Oh, Aaron.
yes?
There she is.
Hello, how are you?
I'm wonderful, thank you. How are you?
Good. So I actually had talked to Jenny briefly in Aaron's group and had a chance to listen to her interview. And it wasn't until last week that I had heard of your station. So definitely will tune in.
Oh, great. Thank you. I really appreciate the support. That's wonderful. And it's lovely to meet you.
Yeah, you too. I'm in Texas. Where are you?
I'm in Indianapolis, Indiana.
Oh, wow. So how long has that station been around?
Ooh, that's another good. You guys are good. You guys are good.
It's been around for a while. I've
It
known of it
has.
over the years.
So
Yeah.
this station, I have owned it for 6 years. And before that, the station started in the year 2014. So this station has been around for 10 years now, going on 11. And for 6 of those years, I've owned it.
That's awesome.
Thank you. That was a
And,
really good question.
and Aaron, are you going to be posting that station link at any time within that group?
Well, I mean, you can get the link anytime. I mean, are you wondering if yeah, ask again,
If you
Candace, what do you
want to
mean?
listen to
Hmm.
the Intervisions Radio Network on a web player, you go to inter-visions.net/listen,
There you
and it
go.
gives you all of the ways that you
Oh,
can
okay,
tune into
cool.
us. But we are everywhere, literally. There are so many places we are that I don't even know them all. That's
Are you
that's
on
how.
Alexa?
Yes, we are. Tell your I can't say the name or else trigger mine. Tell your lady A to play Intervisions Radio Network. Play Intervisions Radio on Get Me Radio. And she will do that.
Okay, awesome. Well, I'm glad, Aaron, that I was able to catch this interview because my work schedule is just crazy. And so,
Welcome aboard. Absolutely, Candace.
I have
Welcome
another
aboard.
Zoom meeting to get to in a minute, but
Oh my
it
goodness.
actually worked out that I could jump in.
Well, Candace,
Bless your heart. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, thank you, Candace. You've been a long-time listener of the show, and we're glad to have you. Welcome aboard. And we know at some point you'll be the next guest at some point one of these days. So, Candace,
when she has a minute to breathe.
Apparently. So, Candace,
Yeah.
thank you for joining us, Candace. You're always welcome. And now that you're getting the hang of this, I'm sure we'll see you next time. So, thank you, Candace. You're always welcome.
Sounds good.
Absolutely. So, Shaleah, back to you to walk to the end of a beautiful conversation. If you, Shaleah, can only ask Aaron's opinion in Aaron Richmond one more question to really make me sweat to see if I'm worth my salt as a podcaster, what do you really want to ask me?
Okay. Ooh. Let's see. What would I ask you? Okay. All right. What is one thing? No, I'll give you the same thing you gave me. What are 3 things, your top 3 things that you want your podcast to do for the community?
I would say the first thing that I want Aaron's opinion to do is to educate people, to provide people with a sense of knowledge, because that's what we do. Some might come to me and they might say, Aaron, you mostly talk about society. Why isn't your podcast under the society chart? Why is it in the education chart? I say, because first of all, I'm a teacher. Second of all, it's important to me that I provide you with more knowledge. As we say here at Aaron's Opinion, help one person today, help a million people tomorrow. That's our slogan. That's our catchphrase.
I love it.
Thank you. Of course. So we say that, which means that by me having this conversation today, we'll not only help ourselves today and build a working relationship and things like that, and things like that. But not only that, but we'll be able to work together in the future. And it's always about what can you do today to help someone tomorrow. And that's a huge thing. The second thing, I want to see more blind people, whether you're blind or not. I want to see more blind and more sighted people get into podcasting the right way. What you're doing at Intervisions Radio Network is the right thing. You have the right spirit. You're the right person. You're the right person that I want. I want you, and we'll talk a little later over the weekend maybe, but I want you at some point to actually do some helping out around Aaron's Opinion, because you clearly know how to help people appropriately. You said something that spoke to me. You said when you were working with Jenny, you were kind. And I think that is a trait that is obviously undervalued, but it's a trait that I value. And I've learned one thing. If I'm not kind to somebody else, there is no way in heck they're going to give me anything of what I want. So you are so right to know that when you're working with anyone, you need to be kind. But you really need to be kind, because when you do the right thing today, you'll always do the right thing tomorrow. The third thing is that I want to see more people get into podcasting. Podcasting is medicinal for me. I'm sure that you felt better after speaking to me. I'm sure Preston did. And I'm sure Candace felt a little burst of energy before she darted off to work again. But regardless, what I really want is I want to see people participating, coming together, having these global conversations. I love them. I love global conversations. I love talking to people and learning with people. So there you go. My name's Aaron Richmond. You've been listening to Aaron's Opinion. Shaleah, we support your message. Help one person today. Help 1 million people tomorrow. Bingo. There you go.
Love it.
If someone wants to get in touch with Shaleah, why don't you give the plugs again? And of course, I'll mention it tomorrow or something, but please do send me an episode description about who you are as in a paragraph, and the station, all that stuff, and all the plugs. But so how does somebody get in touch with you?
To get in touch with me directly, you email DJ Bubbles at inner-visions.net, or you can email management at inner-visions.net to reach any member of my management team. If you would like to listen to the station, you go to inner-visions.net/listen, or you can ask your Lady A device to play Intervisions Radio on Get Me Radio.
Right,
also,
excellent.
I would like to say this real quick before you go, because I like to end with a cliffhanger, if you don't mind.
Absolutely.
Please make sure you tune in to the Intervisions Radio Network on December 31st for my New Year's Eve special, because there will be a huge announcement. I am unveiling something big happening with our station, and you don't want to miss it.
All right. Well, I think that is a beautiful way to walk out of the studio today. Shaleah, thank you. Preston,
Thank you for
thank you.
having me.
Thank you for having all of us. And we'll also connect on Facebook to make sure that everything is properly tagged and all of that. But we will certainly get to that later. But until next time, everybody, enjoy the rest of your evening from all over the universe, Indiana, Pennsylvania, Texas, wherever. Take care, everybody. We will certainly be back soon. And thank you from my heart to yours. That was a wonderful conversation. So we will certainly connect very, very soon.
Yes.
So thank you so much, everybody. But until then, help one person today. Help 1 million people
tomorrow.
Absolutely.